Hi and welcome to another MoTeC webinar. My name's Pete Swinney. Today's subject is data migration. So this is the process of moving information from a file that you want it out of, so an old tuning file or a different firmware version file, and getting that information across into the file that you're going to use currently. So into a package that's going into an ECU that you're going to use today perhaps. So there's a couple of reasons as to why you might want to do that. The first one is you're simply setting up a new file for a customer. So you've got a GP Lite ECU client and you've got the GP Lite start file, and you have already tuned, say, this particular vehicle before on GPR M150 or something like that. So if you've already got tuning information that you want to put into, as an example, a GP Lite package, then the best way to do that is to use the data migration. In fact, the only way to get that information across is to use the data migration method. Alright, so another example might be that you changed a set of injectors on a vehicle, and you've already tuned another vehicle with those injectors. You've got some tables that you want to use, so you can simply grab those injector linearization tables and push them across from the file that you've done into the new file that you're going to do. And another reason might be is if MoTeC have produced a new firmware, so it comes with as a start file, and you want to pull everything over because you've already tuned that car, let's say an Evo 10 or something. So basically the start file from MoTeC could be a Nissan Patrol or a 2J or something like that. So you would use data migration to pull across everything to do with the Evo 10, the RevSync mode, and that kind of stuff. So alright, so effectively we're just using it to take information that's somewhere else in a package and put it into the package that we want to use. Alright, so there's two methods to do that. If the packages are quite similar, so the firmware versions are similar, and there's no channel name changes, it's say from one GPA to another GPA, or one GP Lite to another GP Lite, then you can use, and everything in the package that you want to use is no good to you, like it's a start file that you really have no care for anything that's in there, you can use the auto migration button. So what that does is takes everything from the package you've already got and tuned and puts that into your new GP Lite package itself, if that's what you're doing. Alright, and manual migration is where you actually manually go down and select each either parameter or table and pull that across into the package that you're going to use. So you can pick and choose. Sometimes it takes a little while to go through each individual thing. Might be boost control feed forward, boost aim, efficiency map, ignition map, key things that you've tuned on another package or another ECU, and you want to bring those across into this latest project. Alright, so auto migration, it does its best to push everything across from one to the other, but there is a list of things that it won't be able to migrate. So if there's a different channel name or a different unit, the source or the package has got a different name for, say, throttle position, it's named something else, it can't, if it's not got the same, if the unit and name and table format aren't the same, then it won't be able to migrate. It'll give you a list of what it hasn't done, but so it'll do its best, but if it doesn't line up sort of at the core basics of what's there, then it won't push across the information. I'll only do it unless it's sure that it's going to work out correctly. Okay. So the manual migration, so both versions start the same way, and that is to open a compare package. Alright, so I'll go through this live with you shortly, but effectively you need to, the first package you have to open is the one you're going to use. So whatever package that is, let's say it's the GP Lite package. So if this is the new package you're going to use, and a good example is that we will be taking some, say, the ignition and efficiency map from, let's say, a GPR M150, and we're going to put that into a GP Lite M130. So the first thing we want to do is have open the package that we're going to use. So that's the GP Lite. And then we're going to open what's called a compare package. So that's the one we're going to take the information from. So we're going to take from the compare package and put it into our currently open package. Right, once you actually open that compare package, like a gold box ECU, you will see the difference between the two packages is live in front of you. So while both packages are open, you can see on the screen here, if there's a 0 there, that means the two packages have the same number at that same location, and then there are number differences between the two packages. So this one has a value difference of 3.7. Alright, and then we will go to Tools, Migrate Data, to actually see a list of every table and parameter that we can potentially move over from the package that we'd already tuned and into our new GP Lite package. So once that's open, again, I'll do this live for you, we end up with two lists. Alright, so the list on the left is your original package. So let's say, for example, this is our GP Lite, and the list on the right is the compare package, the one that's been opened to get the information out of. And the process is that we take from the right and give to the left. Now you'll see down the bottom left corner there's a button called Migrate All, and that's, if you press that button, then everything that has an equivalent name and table layout will go across, and that'll, if it's an identical package, identical firmware, then virtually everything will go across and you won't have to do anything at the end or look at anything. So one of the few things, but one of the things you can look at when you are comparing these two lots of packages, you can actually click a button called the diffs button, and what that does is everything that's the same disappears. So I'll just explain what you can see here now. So right now we have the list of items left and right, and if they are both black, what that means is that they are identical from one side to the other. Alright, so let's just pick an example. See here we've got the displacement parameter, and the displacement in liters of this engine is 2.7, and on the right hand side the map we've got is the same, it's 2.7, so it's black. Where we've got a red parameter or table, that means it's different. Okay, so one of the things you can also do is if you highlight on this table, and you can actually click a button down here called Data, and you can actually see the tables themselves. So in this case we can see this efficiency table here has a little hump in it, and this one doesn't. Alright, other than that they look very similar. So maybe you made a mistake and saved this when you were tuning, so you want to go back to an old tune. So you just need to open the old tune up and then come in here, and then you simply can drag and drop it across, or push the arrow, click the arrow here, and that efficiency table will go across. Alright, again I'll show you this live shortly. Alright, so this screen's pretty much saying that you're opening the two files, the compare package is on the right, highlight the table or parameter you want to bring across, and data moves from right to left. Alright, and this is one that's just a little peculiar to the GP Lite, but I'll actually pop back to that. I want to just show you live to catch up where we're at on the software, so just bear with me. Okay, alright, so here we've got a GP Lite package open. I can see it's version number 36. Now as we develop all of our packages, you'll see a version number will increment here. So this is GP Lite September 2019, and it's the 36th firmware. So if sometimes there'll be an update and you want to have a look, or you come across a package that you think is later, what you want to do is look at this version firmware number here. So if you've got a later version, could have some bug fixes, could have some new features, could have all sorts of things. You have to track down the release notes for it. So here's our GP Lite package, and we want to take some things from, let's say, a GPR M150. So we go File and Add Compare Package. Now I'm going to look through here when it opens. And here's one here is a GPR M150. This is the one I want to take some information from. Double click. And now you see we've got our original package on the left, and see this little C here that's telling you that it's a compare. It's even telling you there's a compare package on. And now as we go into each table, we'll see all the differences. Now we can't see the difference on the ignition table because it uses a different vertical axis. So the software or the firmware package in a GPR M150 has a vertical axis on the ignition map called engine load, and in the GP Lite package it's inlet manifold pressure. So because we've got two tables that are quite different in the naming, then the software can't do a compare on it because there's too much difference between the tables. So you can't even manually do a migration. So there's a special way of doing this that I'll show you next. But in the short term, let's show you how to migrate the things that do line up. Fuel mixture aim, of course, that's something that's really common. There's some boost control stuff here. So let's show you how to bring that information across. So tools, migrate data. And now we've got our screen with the list on the left being the GP Lite. So here it is here, GP Lite version 36. And we've got a GPR at version 0. The first one, it's just out recently, July 2019, very recently. Alright, so now everywhere there is red, there is a difference. So you can see there's a whole lot here that isn't, but lots of differences because we really have two very, very different packages. We've got our GPR M150, so it's a piece of hardware that's got twice as many pins as an M130, and we've also got a GP Lite package, which is a cut down sort of GPA package, if you like. It's like an M84 package. So lots and lots of differences between the two. We just want to find the stuff that's interesting for us to bring across into our GP Lite. So some typical things that a tuner might want would be the efficiency map. So if we go into the search here, type EFF, we can simply grab a couple of ways, grab and plonk it over. If it goes green, that means it's successfully pulled it across. Alright, what else? Boost. Our boost aim table, we might have a really nice boost aim table we've been using. Another way you can move it over is just to click the arrow and over it goes. We might have our boost feed forward. That's something that you do a lot of tuning with. So there's a boost control feed forward, and we can just push that over. Okay, there's some extra tables that exist in GPR. Alright, but those tables don't exist in GPA, so you don't see them here. Okay? Alright, so you get the idea. So setup, we could go for injectors here. Let's have a look. So we've got a single calibration in this one, which is ID 1300s. So I think I can let's just try pushing that over. Yep, so that's just gone straight over, and now your ID 1300 calibrations in our GP Lite firmware. Okay, and what else? We might say, well, what fuel pressure? What was the fuel pressure default that we used? We can pick out some parameters. There's the fuel pressure default. It's different. Okay, and just drag it over. Right, so if I clear the search bar, this is the full list. Anywhere where you see blank, alright, that means doesn't mean there's nothing there that's similar. It's just saying that all this All of these parameters over here don't exist in this firmware. Now sometimes if they're renamed they might exist somewhere down the line, but lots of differences. So I'll just show you. Now we can press the diffs. So now all we're going to see is the differences. So all the stuff is black will go away. Now again, because we are looking at two very different firmware, then there's still going to be a lot of differences. Okay, so still lots of differences for us to go through if we want to have a look. But we really only wanted those key things, so I'll just unclick diffs. And one of the few things that don't migrate over is the ignition map. So ignition main. Alright, ignition timing main. There's our ignition timing main, and if we go to push that across, it's going to say can't do it, and this will give you the list of things and why. So different channels, different enumeration axes, it can't line it up properly. So we cannot bring across our ignition main into a GP Lite package, and so there's a different way of doing that for you. Alright, so I haven't showed you, so let's go back to efficiency, EFF. Right, here's our efficiency map. You can see it's green, that means we've already migrated it across. Just wanted to show you how we can look at that. Alright, so that's all red marked, saying that's all fresh, all changed data because we've pulled this map across, but these maps are the same. Okay, what's another one we could look at? Fuel mixture aim, fuel mix aim. Alright, fuel mixture aim main, MA. Alright, so here's a fuel mixture aim main, and so we can even move these tables around. We can clearly see that these are different. Alright, so you might want to use this fuel mixture aim main table, and we just click it across, and now it's the same. No, it didn't migrate, and that'll be because there must be. Let's see if we can do it. Alright, so this is another table that won't go across because of a mismatch. A different axis, it's probably got manifold pressure and not engine load as well. Alright, so this is also a table we're going to have to migrate a different way. Alright, it's good to see that. Alright, so that's your migration. You can click migrate all, we're not going to, and that will just give you a big long list because we've got very different packages here. Big long list of things that it can't migrate over. So other than the ignition and the fuel mixture aim and a couple of other things you might find don't migrate, you choose the things that you do need across, the things that are important, do that, close, and that will now be across in the GP Lite software. So we might start by going File, Save As, and we'll go call this a new file now because it's got the migrated information in it. Now to show you how to manually pull across say the ignition table and the fuel mixture aim table when it won't go across in the normal migration. So what we want to do is actually go into the ignition table of the file that we want to copy. So to do that, we can either open that file up by itself, but there's a nice little feature. You see right here we have our GP Lite package here and our GPRM 150 package here. Now I can actually swap those around because we can only deal with the package that is on the left. Can only see that here. So see this little swap icon here, we can swap that around, and now we've got our GPR package here. Right, so we want to go to the ignition map, and this is the ignition map we want. So if we right click in the middle of here and go export to clipboard, simple as that, swap the package back, go to our ignition map. That's ugly, don't know why that's gone 2D. Must have been like that. And I'm going to now go import from clipboard, and there's the map. Alright, so you don't need to go out there and write it number by number, and you don't need to all retune it from scratch. You've just got to go to the file that you want the information from, right click, export to clipboard, and then go to the file you want the information in and right click, import from clipboard. Alright, let's just save that. Flip the package back again. Let's do the fuel mixture aim now. Okay, here it is. It's interesting. It's showing it's comparing fuel mixture aim main. Alright, export to clipboard. Swap the package. Fuel mixture aim. Import from clipboard. Alright. Okay, I can quickly toggle the compare file on and off by pressing F4, and this shows us normal data. Of course, it's all diamonds here because we haven't saved it, so Control S. Okay, and that's how you import those tables. So if a table won't migrate manually, obviously not automatically, but you can't even migrate it manually, then using the clipboard function to one at a time just pull them over. That's better than starting from scratch. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back to the presentation. So here it is. We've got our two files here. This is our GPA or R file, export to clipboard, and our GP Lite file here, import from clipboard. That's it. Alright, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you for the next GP Lite webinar.